Naomi Carter, 32 years old, had spent 6 demanding years building her reputation at her engineering firm. Every 60-hour week, every late-night revision, and every client pitch pushed her closer to becoming a senior partner. While she struggled through student loans and weekend jobs, her younger brother Logan lived rent-free in their parents' basement, insisting he was focused on becoming a DJ. Naomi never imagined her careful, disciplined life would one day become the perfect disguise for something criminal. And she certainly did not know her own mother was about to destroy everything she had worked so hard to build. The day everything collapsed began in a bright glass conference room on the 27th floor, sunlight spilling across the city skyline. Naomi stood confidently before the board, presenting her design for a $38 million project to transform Riverside Park. Her voice was steady, her drawings flawless, and success felt within reach. Then the conference doors burst open. 2 uniformed officers and a detective shaped like a brick wall strode directly toward her. "Naomi Carter?" he asked. Naomi tried to stay composed. "Can this wait 20 minutes?" "No," the detective replied. "You are under arrest." For a moment, Naomi thought someone was playing an elaborate prank. But the sharp click of handcuffs around her wrists told a different story. Her boss stepped forward quickly. "Detective, she's my lead architect. There must be a mistake." The detective shook his head. "We have surveillance footage, forged signatures, and electronic records. It's airtight." They escorted Naomi through the office, past coworkers who stared like she had become a stranger. Phones buzzed. Whispered questions followed her path. Shame washed over her. In less than 5 minutes, her rising career began to crumble right in front of her. At the precinct, the detective dropped a thick file onto the metal table. $16,000, he said. "You stole it from a company relief fund 18 months ago." Naomi stared at the documents. A check carried her name, but the signature wasn't hers. It had the same exaggerated curve Logan used back in school whenever he forged her name on excuse notes. "That's not my handwriting," Naomi insisted. The detective leaned back with a smirk. "So your brother walked into a bank pretending to be you? Do you hear how unbelievable that sounds?" Naomi lowered her eyes. Sounded impossible, but it was real. When she was released on bail, Naomi drove straight to her parents' house. But before she reached the door, she froze. A bright orange luxury sports car sat in the driveway, a McLaren. Her father drove a beat-up sedan. Her mother drove a 12-year-old SUV. Logan could barely afford lunch. Yet the car gleamed under the porch light like a prize. She stepped closer, inspecting the VIN, the temporary registration, the spotless interior. The engine was still warm. None of it made sense. A heavy dread settled in Naomi's stomach. Something far bigger than Logan's usual irresponsibility was unfolding. Naomi stepped into the house, greeted by the familiar scent of her mother's vanilla candles. The same smell used to cover every lie through the years. Her parents and Logan sat around the dining table, eating dinner as if nothing unusual had happened. Naomi's voice cut through the room. "Did you know I was arrested today?" Her mother didn't flinch. "Yes. The police called." "Sit down, Naomi. We need to talk like adults." Logan kept his eyes on his plate, hands trembling. Naomi stared at him. "You did this, didn't you?" Logan whispered, "Naomi, please. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Before Naomi could reply, her father stood quickly, blocking her path toward Logan. "Enough, Naomi. That's your brother." She glared at him. "He stole $16,000 using my name. They dragged me out of my office in handcuffs." Her mother's tone sharpened. "Don't call your brother a thief. Logan made a mistake." Naomi laughed bitterly. "A mistake? It's multiple felonies." Her mother slammed her hand on the table. "Logan isn't built for prison. You are strong. You can survive anything. You can't risk his future. You can lose a little time. You'll bounce back." Naomi felt her world tilt. "Let me be clear," Naomi said slowly. "Are you asking me to go to prison for him?" Her mother raised her chin. "Yes. Logan is fragile. You're the oldest. You've had everything: education, opportunities, stability. He has nothing." Naomi stared in disbelief. "He has nothing because you coddled him." Logan's voice broke. "Naomi, please. I owe people money. Bad people. If I go inside, they'll kill me." Naomi felt anger rise like fire. You're driving a $200,000 car, Logan. Where did it come from? Logan froze. It's for content. Naomi stepped closer. Do you think I'm stupid? Her mother stepped between them. We are not discussing the car. We are discussing your brother's future. Naomi turned to her father. Do you agree with this? Do you want me locked up? He wouldn't meet her eyes. Your mother is right. Prison would destroy Logan. Memories crashed into Naomi, working double shifts in college, saving every dollar, her parents saying money was tight, only for them to buy Logan expensive gifts. She had always scraped by while he got everything. The pattern was clear. I'm not doing it, Naomi said firmly. I'm not pleading guilty. Logan can face the consequences. Logan's eyes filled with tears, his favorite manipulation technique. Naomi, please. You've always protected me. She shook her head. Not anymore. Her mother's voice turned cold. I forced you to do the right thing by calling the police. I can fix this if you cooperate. Plead guilty, Naomi. Our attorney says if you confess you might get probation. 6 months at most. A minimum security facility. We'll even cover the $16,000. Naomi felt her breath stop. They had already planned her sacrifice. She stood up slowly. I'm not going to prison for him. Her mother hissed, then I'll destroy your life. Naomi walked toward the door, heart pounding, refusing to look back. Her mother's voice rose behind her, sharp enough to cut glass. If you leave this house, don't call me your mother again. I will burn your life to the ground if I must. Naomi stepped into the cold night air and slammed the door. Her eyes drifted to the McLaren again. $16,000 couldn't buy that car. Couldn't even pay for insurance. Logan's debts. The warm engine. The secretive temporary registration. Everything screamed danger. As she stood there, something inside her clicked. She wasn't dealing with one crime. She was standing on top of an iceberg. 2 days later, the destruction began. Naomi returned to her apartment after running errands, only to find a bright red eviction notice taped to her door. Her landlord knocked moments later, looking uneasy. Naomi, your mother called me, he said nervously. She told me you're running a drug operation here and sent me photos of your arrest warrant. Naomi blinked. What? I design parks. He looked miserable. I know. But I can't take risks. I need you out in 72 hours. Naomi felt the world tilt. Her mother wasn't bluffing. She was dismantling her life piece by piece. With nowhere else to turn, Naomi rushed to her best friend and attorney, Ashley. She entered her office shaking. Ashley handed her a cup of coffee. I heard about the eviction, she said softly. We can sue later. Right now we focus on survival. Naomi lowered her voice. Ashley, the McLaren wasn't the beginning. Something much bigger is happening. Ashley frowned. Explain. Naomi leaned forward. My parents weren't worried about the $16,000. They were terrified about Logan going to prison. Terrified enough to destroy me completely. Something is behind all this. Something expensive. Ashley nodded. Then we dig. Naomi insisted on visiting her parents' longtime attorney, the man she once called her second uncle. Maybe he could help. Maybe he could talk sense into them. She sat across from him in his corner office as he adjusted his glasses. Naomi, your mother explained everything, he said gently. The best thing you can do is take the plea deal. 18 months probation. No jail time. Naomi stared at him. I didn't do it. Logan forged my signature. He sighed deeply. Evidence points to you. Let it go, Naomi. Sometimes family harmony matters more than being right. She felt sick. Naomi stood to leave but realized she had forgotten her phone on his desk. As she turned back to retrieve it, she heard his voice through the cracked door. Deborah. I told her. No, she's not convinced. Yes, the insurance situation is safe. She has no idea about the policies. Keep the pressure on her. Naomi froze. Insurance situation. Policies. Pressure. Her stomach dropped. This wasn't about Logan anymore. There was an entire operation. One they had built using her name. When she slipped out of the office unseen, her hands shook so violently she struggled to start her car. 3 days later, things escalated again. Naomi returned to her firm, desperate to talk to her boss. She needed him to hear her side. But when she reached the lobby, The receptionist looked deeply uncomfortable. "Your mother is already upstairs," she whispered. Naomi felt dread wash over her. She stepped into her boss's office and froze. Her mother sat on the leather couch, crying into a tissue. "Oh, Naomi," her mother sobbed, "I was just apologizing for your behavior. I told him about your drug problem." Naomi felt heat rush to her face. "What drug problem?" Her mother lifted her sleeve, revealing a huge purple bruise. Naomi recognized it instantly. Her mother had slammed her arm against the doorframe days earlier while blocking Naomi from leaving. "This is from when she attacked me," she cried dramatically. Her boss swallowed hard. "Naomi, with the arrest, the missing funds, and now this, we can't take risks. The city contract is on the line." Naomi's voice shook. "You're firing me?" He exhaled slowly. "I'm putting you on unpaid leave until this clears. Please leave the building." Naomi looked at her mother. Behind the tissue she saw it, her smirk. Outside, Naomi sat in her car shaking. No job. No home. No savings. All gone in 1 week. Her mother had followed a plan. A methodical, cruel, step-by-step destruction. But then Naomi remembered the attorney's slip. Insurance situation. She grabbed the stack of documents Ashley had compiled. Credit reports, business filings, public records. Ashley's investigator joined them, a wiry man with sharp eyes. "I dug into everything under your name," he said. "Brace yourself." He pulled up a file. "Naomi, you own 4 companies. Reynolds Consulting, Apex Logistics, Northern Imports, and Cascade Holdings. All registered under your name." Naomi blinked. "I don't own any companies." The investigator nodded grimly. "Your parents used your social security number to create them. And those companies," he clicked through photos, "they own luxury cars. Expensive ones." Naomi recognized each one. The McLaren. The Porsche. The Audi. "Exactly," he said. "All in your name. But here's the twist. They aren't using them to look rich. They're staging accidents and collecting massive insurance payouts." He slid a spreadsheet across the table. Over $800,000 in claims. Fires, collisions, thefts, every one of them tied to your companies. Naomi's jaw dropped. "They built an empire using me." The investigator continued. "They buy wrecked luxury cars from auctions, swap VINs, repair them cheaply, then create staged accidents. The body shops write fake repair estimates. Insurance pays big money. Then the cars disappear." Naomi felt her heart pound. "And the McLaren?" "Scheduled to be totaled next week for a $250,000 payout," he said. Naomi pressed her hands to her temples. Logan's small crime had almost exposed a massive operation. That's why they needed her to plead guilty. That's why her mother wanted her life destroyed. Naomi looked at Ashley. "We need proof. Real proof. And I know where it is." Naomi knew exactly who had the proof. Logan's ex-girlfriend Morgan had lived through her family's chaos. Naomi drove to the Southside pool hall where Morgan worked evenings. When Morgan spotted her, she looked ready to walk away. Naomi stepped in front of her gently. "Morgan, please. I'm not here to fight. My family is trying to send me to prison." Morgan's expression shifted from irritation to sympathy. "They're monsters, Naomi. They treated me like trash." Naomi nodded. "I know. I need to know about their business." Morgan sighed deeply. "You mean the insurance scams? Logan used to brag about them." Morgan lit a cigarette with a shaky breath. "Your parents are the real masterminds. They buy fancy cars, file fake claims, then stage accidents. Logan showed me everything once when he was paranoid. He kept records. Every payout, every fake accident, every title swap. He called it his insurance Bible." Naomi leaned closer. "Where is it?" Morgan shrugged. "Black Nike shoebox under his bed. He said he'd use it to protect himself if your parents ever cut him out." Naomi exchanged a look with Ashley. Breaking into the house was illegal. Taking it wasn't an option. But getting Logan to reveal it? That was possible. They returned to Ashley's office where the detective was reviewing their findings. He looked tired but focused. "If what Morgan says is true," he said, "then you're not dealing with small-time fraud. You're looking at federal crimes. Cross-state insurance fraud, VIN cloning, shell corporations, offshore accounts." Naomi swallowed. So what do we do? The detective leaned back. We need a recorded confession. Clean, legal, and voluntary. If they brag about the operation, we can bring in the federal boys. Ashley nodded. We have one advantage. Your mother thinks you're broken. She'll talk once she believes she's won. The detective explained the plan. Naomi would call her parents and pretend she was ready to plead guilty. She would meet them at their home wearing a wire. Don't push, he warned. Let them brag. Criminals always brag. Naomi felt her stomach twist. What if they get suspicious? Then you say the code word, blueprint, and we're in the house in 30 seconds. Naomi nodded slowly, fear and determination mixing inside her. She dialed her mother. Mom, I can't do this anymore. The landlord kicked me out. The firm suspended me. I'll take the plea. Silence. Then her mother's smug voice. I knew you'd understand. That night, the FBI team fitted Naomi with a thin wire taped beneath her blouse. They handed her a burner phone as backup. The detective tested the audio. Speak normally. Stay calm. Don't confront them. Let them explain. Naomi inhaled deeply. I'm ready. He gave her a steady look. You're walking into a dangerous house, Naomi. Remember, no leading questions. Just ask for money to rebuild your life later. Let them fill in the blanks. Naomi nodded again. She felt like she was stepping toward a cliff's edge. But she had nothing left to lose and everything to reclaim. Naomi parked beside the McLaren, its orange paint glowing under the porch lights. The wire felt like ice against her skin. She stepped into the house where a full dinner spread waited as if they were celebrating. Her mother beamed. Naomi, said sweetheart. You made the right choice. Logan gave a shaky thumbs up. Her father poured cider. To families sticking together. Naomi stayed quiet, staring at the three people who had nearly destroyed her life. Finally, she said, before I agree to anything, I want financial security when I get out. I'm losing my career. I need $200,000. Her mother waved her hand calmly. Don't be dramatic. We'll take care of you. Naomi didn't blink. Where will the money come from? Logan chuckled, already on an adrenaline high. From the companies, of course. Her mother's eyes widened. Logan, but he kept talking. Reynolds, Apex, Northern, we used your name on everything. Your clean record makes the claims easy. We've made nearly $1 million. Naomi kept her voice steady. You mean from all the staged accidents? Logan grinned. Exactly. Warehouse fire, highway pileup. All genius. Her mother hissed, Logan, stop. But Logan was spiraling. Relax, Mom. She's taking the deal anyway. She deserves to know what she's protecting. He turned to Naomi proudly. That McLaren outside. Scheduled to be totaled next week. Fake hit and run. Insurance will pay out at least $250,000. Easy money. Her father slammed his hand on the table. Logan, you fool. Naomi placed the burner phone on the table face down. Thank you, she said quietly. Her mother's eyes widened in horror. What is that? Naomi stood up. Proof. Outside, sirens erupted. Blue and red lights washed over the windows. The front door exploded open as officers rushed in. Everyone stay where you are. Hands visible. Her father froze as handcuffs snapped around his wrists. Her mother screamed as two agents pinned her arms behind her back. Logan panicked, grabbing the McLaren keys. I'm not going to prison, he yelled, sprinting toward the garage. But two patrol cars blocked the driveway. Agents surrounded the car, weapons drawn. Logan dropped the keys and raised his shaky hands. Wait. I can give you more. I have texts, photos, burner phones. Even in cuffs, he threw his family under the bus. The detective picked up the burner phone and nodded. Perfect audio, Naomi. You did good. Naomi watched as her family was let out, her father silent and defeated, her mother screaming her name like a curse, Logan bargaining like a trapped rat. For the first time in weeks, Naomi exhaled without her chest tightening. She wasn't in cuffs. She wasn't running. She wasn't losing. She walked toward the detective's unmarked car, feeling the weight finally lift. Let's finish this, she said. And for the first time the detective smiled. We will. The officers guided Naomi into the precinct, but this time she wasn't behind bars. She was treated like a witness, not a suspect. Logan crumbled first. Within 20 minutes he confessed everything. He revealed the location of the insurance Bible, a folder on his phone with screenshots, burner numbers and planning messages. He even gave up account numbers and storage locations. Her father, always the quieter conspirator, followed soon after. He admitted to VIN swaps, staged collisions and fake repairs. But her mother refused to speak. Not until they played her own recorded confession. Her face drained of all color. Naomi spent hours giving her full statement, every detail from the forged signatures to the staged arrest. When she finished, the detective handed her a warm cup of tea. "You're cleared, Naomi. Fully. We'll send your exoneration to your firm." Ashley stepped into the room moments later. "You just tore down a criminal empire built on your name," she said softly. "You should be proud." Naomi leaned back, exhausted but relieved. For the first time in weeks, no one was accusing her of anything. No one was threatening her. No one was stealing from her. She finally felt like Naomi again. The trial took over a year to reach court. Naomi attended every hearing, watching her parents walk into the courtroom in matching orange jumpsuits. They pleaded not guilty, but the evidence was overwhelming. VIN records, staged accident photos, offshore accounts, Logan's digital folder, and of course the recorded conversation Naomi captured. The jury returned their verdict in less than 4 hours. Guilty on all major counts. Insurance fraud, identity theft, racketeering, money laundering. The courtroom was silent when the judge spoke. "Mark Carter and Deborah Carter, you are sentenced to 13 years in federal prison." Naomi felt no joy, just closure. Logan's case was separate. The judge saw his cooperation as valuable, but he was still responsible for fraud, forgery, and participating in staged accidents. Logan sobbed as he stood before the court. "Please. I didn't mean for it to go this far." But the law didn't bend. He received 4 years in prison with mandatory rehabilitation. Naomi watched him being led away, remembering the boy he used to be and the man he chose to become. She didn't feel hatred anymore, only exhaustion. She had spent years protecting him and he had repaid her by trying to sacrifice her life. 1 week after sentencing, Naomi's boss called her back to the firm. She walked through the lobby with a mixture of hope and fear. But when she stepped into his office, he smiled. "City planning reviewed your case. They want you back. And more than that, they want you as lead architect." He slid a folder across the desk. "Riverside Park is ours, Naomi." She felt her throat tighten. After everything, every lie, every accusation, her work had survived. Her reputation was intact. Her years of effort mattered. She whispered, "Thank you." Her boss replied warmly, "You earned this." Naomi celebrated quietly with Ashley that night at a small restaurant overlooking the water. For the first time in months, there were no legal documents spread across the table. No investigators calling. No threats from her mother's number. Just peace. Ashley raised her glass. To Naomi Carter, the woman who survived a criminal family, exposed a $1 million fraud scheme, and still landed the biggest contract of her career. Naomi laughed softly. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Ashley rested her hand on Naomi's. "I've been by your side for a long time. I wasn't going anywhere." Months passed and Riverside Park slowly came to life. Gardens blooming, pathways curving like ribbons, families filling the space Naomi had once only seen on paper. She spent long evenings standing on the observation deck, watching people enjoy the world she helped create. Each time she visited, Ashley joined her. They talked about the future instead of the past. About new projects, new dreams, new beginnings. Naomi's life wasn't just repaired, it was transformed. She had learned what true loyalty looked like, and it didn't come from blood. It came from the people who stood with her when she had nothing left. 6 months later, Naomi got unexpected news. The prison rehabilitation program requested a mediation meeting between her and her mother. "You don't have to go," Ashley said gently. "You owe her nothing." Naomi nodded. "I know. But I want to see her. I want to see the reality she built for herself." They drove to the medium security facility together. Inside, Naomi waited in a small room with cameras in every corner. When her mother entered, she looked nothing like the powerful woman who once threatened her. Her hair was gray, her hands trembled, and her voice cracked when she spoke. "Naomi," her mother whispered, I know what I did was unforgivable. I destroyed your life because I was selfish and blind. I chose Logan. I hurt you. I ruined everything. Please, please forgive me. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I won't survive 13 years. Naomi stared at her. This broken version of the woman who once tried to send her to prison for a crime she didn't commit. Tell me what I can do, her mother begged. I'll sign over everything. I'll testify against Logan. Anything. Just don't leave me like this. Tears streamed down her face. Naomi stood slowly and buttoned her jacket. Her mother reached out weakly, but Naomi stepped back. You didn't care if I survived, Naomi said quietly. You were ready to let me go to prison so Logan could keep playing pretend. You destroyed everything I built. And now you want mercy. Her mother sobbed harder. Please, Naomi. I'm your mother. Naomi shook her head gently. You stopped being my mother the day you tried to put me in a cell. She turned away. 13 years, Deborah. Enjoy them. She walked out of the room without looking back. Outside, Ashley handed her a warm cup of coffee. How did it go? Naomi exhaled deeply. Exactly how it needed to.